Good afternoon, my dear friends, or good evening, or good morning, whenever you're watching this. Oh, background music. Okay, hope everybody's well. And if you're not well, you should get better very soon. And that's serious that everybody who isn't well should have quick healing, and we should see the end of this plague, and we should get back to life bigger and better than before. So, tonight is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, so it's exactly 2 weeks until the beginning of Pesach, of Passover. And that means we have 2 weeks to prepare for Passover, because you can't just come into Passover without preparations. You have to be prepared. So I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about how you should prepare for Pesach. So there's two parts to Passover. One of them is the do's and one is the don't, so that you'll be ready for it. Okay, so here we go. On Pesach, we have to get rid of chametz. Okay, and how do you get rid of chametz? So the Torah tells us that chametz should not be seen and chametz should not be heard, not be found. No, it shouldn't be seen or found in your house. That seems a little redundant, because if you can't see it in your house, you can't find it in your house. I mean, does that mean? Would that mean? Would that mean if you had chametz in your house and you didn't see it, it's okay? No, it's not okay, because it doesn't mean seen or found. If it's lying under the table, you don't see it, doesn't mean that you haven't transgressed. So you could be seen. So basically, it's like a double thing. It shouldn't be found, it shouldn't be seen. And the fact is yes, that you get a double transgression if you have chametz in your possession on Pesach. And the other part of it is, the do part of that is, it should be destroyed. You have to destroy any chametz you have in your possession. So you have three mitzvahs. These are three Torah commandments that are in the Torah about chametz. One is that chametz should not be seen for 7 days. Another, that should not be found for 7 days. And the third thing is that you should get rid of chametz before Pesach starts. Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about when does it start. So actually, it doesn't start the night of Pesach. It starts the day before Pesach. We learn it out from a pasuk in the Torah, and we also did learn it out from the fact that it says when you bring the Pesach sacrifice, which should be brought from midday, the day before Pesach, which would mean in 2 weeks, Wednesday at midday. From that time and on, the Torah prohibits you to have any chametz in possession. And the rabbis want to make sure you didn't transgress. So we pulled it back a couple of hours. So it starts from like 10 o'clock in the morning. You have to get rid of your chametz. You have to look on Chabad.org and find out exactly when you're not allowed chametz in your possession in your area where you're living. Okay. Now, so that's, don't see chametz, don't find chametz. I mean, don't have it in your possession, and get rid of it before Pesach starts, before the day before Pesach. Next question: what is chametz? What is it? What things are you forbidden to have in your house on Pesach? So, number one is bread, cake, pretzels, and liquor. Oy. So bread is forbidden, cake is forbidden, and pretzels and is forbidden. What's the common denominator between those things? Well, we'll get to that in a second. Now we'll go to other things that are forbidden, common foods that you eat. So, for example, for breakfast, you might have cereal or oatmeal, and for lunch, you might have a knish or some pasta. So now we have 8 things. We have bread, cake, pretzels, liquor, Cheerios, oatmeal, knish, and pasta. What is the common denominator between all these things? That they're all made out of wheat. Now, is wheat the only type of grain that's forbidden on Pesach? The answer is no. There are other grains that are also forbidden. And here you have them. You recognize what they are? That's wheat, that's barley, that's oats, that's spelt, and that's rye. Wheat, barley, Oats, spelt, and rye. They don't look very exciting. They look like, part of the basic grain family, wheat family. Okay, so here, just in case you want to remember that, it's wheat, barley, oats, spelt, and rye. Those are the types of grain that are forbidden to be, that any derivative from those grains is prohibited to have on Pesach. Okay? Now, so that's why you have bread, which is obviously made of grain, and you have cake, pretzels, and liquor. Now, not all liquor is made out of grain. Some of it's made out of wine or other things. So you have to know. But generally, liquor is made out of grains. So that makes that forbidden. Now, what's about beans? Are beans forbidden? And the answer is it's not forbidden according to the Torah, but it's forbidden rabbinically, but only for Ashkenazi Jews. And the reason is for the institute because for a couple of reasons. Sometimes different grains get mixed up together, or you mistake one for the other. So the Ashkenazi Jews don't have any beans either. Now, you say, okay, well, you need beans. But here, think of this product. Corn syrup. Corn syrup is made out of corn. Now look at the ingredients of 90% of the stuff in your house, and you'll see it has corn syrup in it because the corn syrup is sweet. It's a common sweetener. So corn syrup is also a problem, and therefore you have to know the ingredients. So the wheat products, or the grain products more generally, are much easier to identify. You think about all the grain products, we covered quite a lot of them. All types of breads, all kinds of pasta, all kinds of things that are made with these types of products are forbidden. Those ingredients are forbidden. So that's not very complicated. But when it comes to the bean things, that gets a little more complicated. Because, like, for example, corn syrup. You want to think a lot of things don't have corn syrup. And yes, that's not good. There's a corn syrup in it. Or other derivatives of legumes are forbidden as well. So those are your basic products that are forbidden. Now, how do you get rid of the chametz? Okay, so now we know that there's the mitzvot about not having chametz in your domain. We know what the different types of chametz are. Now, how do you get rid of chametz? So the first thing is you have to clean your house with a broom or a vacuum cleaner or anything else that cleans. So that's how you get rid of chametz. You have to clean the house for chametz. And that has to start today or next week, whenever you want. Depends how big your house is. People think you have to go crazy cleaning your house. You don't have to go crazy cleaning your house. You have to get rid of chametz. So what you have to do is you have to know all the places where there's a potential for chametz to be there, and you have to get rid of that chametz. Where would chametz be? Well, think about it. Where do you have let's talk about edible products. Where would they be? In your dining room, in your living room. So you have to clean out the chametz from there. You have to sweep the floors. And what else? Clean off the shelves and get rid of any chametz you're going to have. Now, there's a whole separate issue about the chametz you want to keep. We'll get that later. So we're talking about just about cleaning. Let's leave the kitchen alone for a second and talk about the living room. Vacuum the living room floor. If you generally have, it depends. If you have a lot of kids running around, it's a whole different story. Then you have to really make sure that you contain the chametz in one room, the dining room, the kitchen, wherever you eat, and not let it get spread around the rest of the house. But you do have to clean the rest of the house. But clean the rest of the house doesn't mean you have to clean your kids' drawers where you have, let's say, their clothes, their dresser with their clothes. Why would they put chametz in there? How would chametz get in there? But you do have to clean the areas that they play, because kids play. They have food with them. So you have to clean it. Now, cleaning means you don't have to take every single toy and scrub it, with ammonia and make sure it's not visible chametz. There shouldn't be any pieces of chametz lying around. Obviously, you don't need crumbs either. To be clean. But we're not talking about a deep cleaning that you would do if, God forbid, there was a virus. Can you imagine? We're talking about no visible chametz anywhere. So if you sweep the floor, you move away the couches, vacuum under the couches, just, in a typical room, it should take you 10 minutes to clean chametz. It's really not that, we're not talking, very important. Spring cleaning and chametz cleaning are two separate things. You want to go through all your socks and see which of them have holes in them, or just which of them are orphans, and you want to get rid of them. That's wonderful. That's a good thing to do. Maybe, I don't know, but that's nothing to do with Pesach. So people, I think that they have to. They're cleaning, so it should be clean. Dirt is not chametz. We're talking about chametz products, as we explained before. So so any room besides the kitchen where you have actual food, and that's a whole nother story. Preparing your kitchen for Pesach is a completely different subject. But here we're talking about the general cleaning for Pesach. In your bedroom, you just have to vacuum the floor, under any furniture you want to go, maybe something fell there or something that you might find, and that's pretty much how you know what you have to clean: the pockets. You have a coat and you hang in your closet. Check the pocket. You might have a granola bar in there that you put in there a month ago and you forgot about it. So the place that you normally have chametz, you have to check. You have to go and you have to clean them and make sure they're clean. I'm just saying that don't go crazy with the cleaning. If you want to, it's fine. You don't have to. Okay. Now, on the night before Pesach, we have to search for the chametz. The Mishnah says this, that the rabbinic edict. Some say it's even Torah prescribed. You have to search for the chametz the night before Pesach. How do you search for how do you search for the chametz the night before Pesach? You use a candle or haner. Take a candle and you go around and you look through all the places, all the rooms that you might have chametz in them. Right now they're clean already. We understand that. Now there is a custom to put down 10 pieces of bread. Now remember this: the 10 pieces of bread should be small pieces. Small means like that big, not that big. People come the next day, you have to burn the chametz, bring 10 bagels. No, it should be small pieces of chametz, like that size, literally. So if you took half a slice of bread and broke that into 10 pieces, that would be good. Or even a whole slice of bread. 10, make them into 10 pieces. But it has to be able to burn the next day. So don't wrap it in aluminum foil. Aluminum foil doesn't burn unless you have very high temperature. It's crazy. Wrap it in a piece of paper. Because you don't want to start putting pieces of bread all over your floor and then it gets crummy and like, what did you clean for? How are you going to go and pick up little crumbs? So take 10 pieces of bread and put them on each one a little piece of paper and spread them around. So you're searching for the chametz, you have 10 pieces of bread. You can get these kits. You get a candle with a spoon and a feather and a bag. When you search for the chametz after dark, the night before Pesach, then you gather the chametz together. And after you gather the chametz together, then you have to say something called nullification of chametz. What does nullification of chametz mean? That means that if there's chametz that you didn't find, here I'll show you. You have to nullify the chametz. So any chametz that I don't know about or I don't want to have, I don't own it, so it's not mine. If an Andrew walks into your house on Pesach and is eating a piece of bread, you have to throw him out? No, not yours, not your problem. Well, let's say you have in the backyard, a neighbor comes over and is eating bread in your backyard. Doesn't matter, even if you're talking to him. And what you say is that the chametz should be like the dust of the earth. That's dust of the earth. It means it has no value about it. If someone came and took it, it wouldn't bother me. So you nullify the chametz the night, right after you do the searching for chametz, you nullify it. And then the next day, in the morning, remember, before the time that you're not allowed to own chametz, you burn the chametz. And usually that's done in the community setting. I don't think of this year because, well, maybe then the whole thing will be over. But if not, you make a little fire in a safe way, in a metal container of some sort. Garbage cans are plastic, don't do that. Or however you do, put into an aluminum tray. Don't make a big fire. And you have the bag, paper bag. Don't use plastic, it doesn't burn. And burn the next day. And then there's another formula you say of nullifying the chametz. Now, what do you do with the chametz that you want to keep? Like the liquor or the bread in your freezer. So you can keep chametz, but it has to be in a designated area that's closed off. So if you have a cupboard with chametz, you have to put a piece of tape over it and say, sold with the chametz, or chametz on it, or sold on it, just so you don't use it during Pesach. Now, The way you sell it, the way you sell it is by making a contract. Make a contract. You make a contract with the guy that the chametz is sold. Now, this contract is not a simple thing to do because you're not actually giving him the chametz in his hand. Like when you sell something, guy gives you $10, you give him the product, so you don't have it. Here, you're making a contract with him that the chametz that exists in my home belongs to you. Now, how does he acquire it? So there's different ways of making an acquisition, even though the person doesn't acquire it by exchanging money, by writing a document, but it has to be done properly. So therefore, what you have to do is you have to find a rabbi who will do it for you. You could find either Rabbi Prus, who's the rabbi in Boston, or Rabbi Lau, who's the chief rabbi of Israel. Either one will be fine. I think easier than this. So what you do is you fill out a contract and you make the rabbi your agent to represent you in selling your chametz. So if you go online, chabadboston.org or chabad.org, and you find the sale of chametz, it's a contract where you're appointing the rabbi as your agent to sell your chametz. And that's why I put Rabbi Lau there. Because normally a rabbi has, let's say, 20 people, 100 people, 500 people send in these documents, and he has a whole manila envelope full of those papers. He hands it to the Gentile, the non-Jew, and he takes the names, whatever. So then that's part of how you're selling the chametz there. Chief rabbi of Israel has to sell all the chametz that the state of Israel owns, and all the army bases, and all over the place, all the chametz that Israel owns, and he does that. There's some minister in Israel who's not Jewish. So he's the guy that they sell the chametz to. Okay, so that's how you get rid of chametz. You clean your house, then you search Erev Pesach, you nullify it, and then you sell. Now the selling of the chametz, don't make a mistake. You can sell the chametz today. You can fill out the document because the contract is I empower the rabbi to sell my chametz, and he will sell it the day before Pesach, the morning of Pesach. In 2 weeks on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, sit down with the non-Jew and he'll sell the chametz. Simple enough. Okay, now we didn't get into the kitchen because I told you it's a separate subject. How to kosher a kitchen is a separate subject. That's not our topic right now. What you can do is you can look online. There's very detailed instructions, and don't do it based on what you do online. I'm not telling you how to do it now because you have to have a personal conversation with someone who knows how to do it, because every situation is a little bit different, and it's not impossible. It's possible. It also depends to what degree you want to be careful. Obviously, you want to, some people cover everything, some people don't cover things. There's different levels of intensity in making your kitchen kosher for Pesach. So therefore, I'm not talking about it now. Read up on it, read up about it, and call a rabbi. You want to call me? Call me. I don't care. I'll be happy to talk to you. So that pretty much covers our subject in brief. There's more details to it about how you get rid of what chametz is. The prohibition of chametz is a very serious prohibition. You don't get death penalty by human court, but you're cutting yourself off from Hashem. That's the language the Torah uses. So it's a serious thing not to have chametz on Pesach. And when you get rid of the chametz, then you can have a proper Pesach. Now, what is wrong with chametz? Why did Thursday get rid of chametz? What's so bad about it? So look over here. On top it says chametz, and bottom it says matzah. Chametz and matzah. Now, the interesting thing is those 5 grains, if you remember, are wheat, barley, oats, spelt, and rye. You can use those 5 grains to make matzah. Because the Torah says you should guard the matzah, it shouldn't become chametz. So from there we understand that what kind of grain is kosher for matzah? A grain that could become chametz. Oh. So chametz and matzah are close to each other. The grain that you use for matzah is the same grain that becomes chametz. So what is the difference between chametz and matzah? Now, if you look at the letters, you'll see that there's a ches over here in chametz, and there's no ches in the matzah. There's a hey. There is a mem in chametz, and there's a mem in matzah. There's a tzaddik, that's a final tzaddik, in chametz, and there's a tzaddik in matzah. So the difference is the hey and the ches. Now the difference between the hey and the ches is a very slight difference. Look at the difference. It's only the ches is closed, only open to the bottom. The matzah is open a little bit on top. That's the whole difference in chametz and matzah, is between that little opening on top of the hay and not the opening on top of the ches. What's the difference? So the going down is like it says, that's the doorway downward. That's a person sinking into a place of unholiness. Now, when a person makes a mistake, what do? Let's say you forgot to do a mitzvah, or you did something you're not supposed to do. What do? So the answer is, you're going down. Oh my golly, I'm lost. No, there's an opening on top. What's the opening on top? You can repent, you can atone, and go back up. But can anybody do that? The answer is, of course, anybody can do that. But what type of person will do that? The answer is a matzah type of person, not a chametz type of person. So now what's the difference between chametz and matzah? So here we go. The difference between chametz and matzah is that chametz, bread, rises, right? So you take the same grain, mix it with water, and if you did nothing else, you let it sit there, the dough would rise. You want to accelerate it, you put in yeast. But even without yeast, flour and water will eventually rise. So matzah, we don't allow it to rise. Bread, we allow it to rise. So there's a chametz person and a matzah person. A chametz person is a person that rises, full of himself. So he makes a mistake. First of all, he's not going to admit it. If he does admit it, it means that I've done something wrong. He has to humble himself and to fix it. He's still full of himself. He's not going to do that. That's a chametz person. A matzah person is flat. There's no ego. I make mistakes. Okay, make a mistake. I can always fix it. So therefore, the chametz person has no way to escape out of the top, and the matzah person does. And when it comes Pesach, when Hashem took the Jews out of Egypt, Hashem took the Jews out of Egypt because he's telling them, I'm going to take you to Mount Sinai, you'll get the Torah, you go to Israel, and you'll start living in Israel, make Israel a holy place. So the Jews had to accept it. It's accept Hashem is the master. So to acceptance is matzah, is flat. So comes Pesach, we can't tolerate chametz. Now is the time to recognize that Hashem has chosen us as his people. Wow, we're overwhelmed by that. We're so full of gratitude. There's no self about it. It's not because Hashem chose us because we're so amazing. He loves us. So that's why chametz is forbidden on Pesach. And now think about it like this. What is happening now? What's happening now is, again, Hashem has shown himself. In a way, we call it a plague. Hashem has done plagues. We don't understand why. Hashem didn't tell us he's going to bring the plagues. The plagues in Egypt was to teach Pharaoh a lesson. What is Hashem trying to teach us? Well, it might be a lot of things. We don't know exactly what it is, but a lot of things we can learn from it. One of the things we can learn from it is humility. Humility means I'm not in control. All the plans that people had from a week ago for the next couple of weeks have been put in limbo. All these different plans. Think about the plans you had. Even the simple things of waking up and going to school. Over. You're not walking to school. You're walking, maybe not walking anywhere. You're walking to your desk and turning on your computer. So Hashem has shown us one thing certain. We're not in control. That gives us a sense of humility. A sense of recognition that Hashem is the master of the world. We should submit our will to his will. And now, what are we talking about? We're not talking about leaving Egypt. Well, we are in a sense. That's our personal Egypt, our personal servitude. We were enslaved. How many times does somebody ask you, okay, you're in Torah? No, I can't. I'm busy. I can't. What do you mean you can't? I can't because of circumstances control me, don't be allowed to do it. Oh, yeah, interesting. So if you wanted to, you could. So now Hashem is saying you could. You could. If you want to, you could. Look, I disrupted your plans. you can disrupt your plans yourself too. That's a sense of humility, of submission to Hashem to do His will, which makes us even bigger and greater. It doesn't break us down. What are we preparing for? Leaving Egypt? No. Personal Egypt? Yes. We're ready to leave exile. Same like Egypt. Egypt was exile. And what will happen? Mashiach will come. So let's put in our effort to get rid of our personal chametz now and get ready to eat matzah where? In Jerusalem. With whom? With Mashiach in the third Beis HaMikdash.